Welcome to Hilarity by Default's weekly Briscoe County Jr. review, starring the staggering chin of Bruce Campbell. Briscoe turns spy in Stagecoach, a western espionage thriller complete with gadgets, venomous kisses, and a 7-Eleven Indian taxi driver. Briscoe is drafted by the US government to escort a devious female prisoner to Mexico. While en route, Bowler and Socrates are shocked to discover that there may be a deadly assassin after them. This episode marks a late new direction for the series, and given how well the concept remarkably works, it's a good one. Following the devolution of the orb storyline, I can honestly say that for the first time in the series, I was legitimately happy to see the Wile E. Coyote wannabe Pete return to the fold.
How useful he was in the episode is in question, but he did a good job in this one. I mean, listen, there's nothing like getting excited when a hot blonde chick handles your piece the wrong way. But all I'm saying is this: I'm glad I polished my "Hello, Briscoe" impersonation for just this episode. Again, you have another very strong show intro. I really liked what they did with that one. The way Socrates has been brought along as the liaison to the president / White House or the government, however you want to put it.
President Cleveland.
Correct. Thank you. Instead of being the attaché, envoy, whatever you want to call it, of the robber barons.
Like Bounty Hunters Convention, you have a colorful group of characters here. You have hippie doctor, you have the nosy uptight lady, the Indian taxi driver, and no, I wasn't making a callous joke at the beginning. They literally make a 7-Eleven reference. You have fake Davy Crockett, and you have fast-talking comedian wannabe, as well as, and I'm going to jump into a good here, Emma Steed. Herself a reference to the 1960s spy series, The Avengers, clearly being named in homage to John Steed and Emma Peel.
I had missed that first time around. Well played, Demosthenes.
I did really enjoy the back and forth relationship between Briscoe and Emma. Their sensual byplay and the sacrificial nature of her character kind of amps up the intrigue and even evokes a surprising bittersweet element to the episode's finale. And it's not just the name. I mean, she in many ways does take on the characteristics of the Avengers' beauties. And no, I'm not talking about Marvel. I'm talking about the 60s show. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed that. And you mentioned earlier about Pete's involvement in this. I think that they utilize him very well. He's comic relief here, and he works well within that capacity.
Oh, sure. From an execution standpoint, you're 100% right. I'm just not sure if you needed him plot-wise.
You might be right there, but my whole point with Pete is you can never truly buy him as a threat. But as long as they keep him comic, he gets to shine a little bit brighter the few times he generally does get to pull off a trick.
Right. Fireball! If you have a problem with Pete pulling off the arrow in the head trick, that was awesome.
Oh, he pulled it off. I mean, he didn't even make a mistake. He took charge of that situation.
Yeah, I think it's good that that's there to remind us, listen, Pete isn't always wrong. He got complacent, did the same thing again. Someone more warned him his hubris kicked his butt, okay? He evolved, used an original idea, and was successful. The only problem with his last two efforts is, well, he was getting a little bigger than his britches would handle. And let's be honest, the Boulder thing was just another Indiana Jones homage. I'm just saying. By the way, as far as Poisonous Kisses goes, Firefly did it better. Holla at your boy.
I agree on both points. I'm glad that you brought up the Indiana Jones reference before I did. I'm very proud of that. And I also love that they brought back the painted rock concept from the pilot.
So funny.
Although I have to admit that I think it fails in its final execution by clumsily cutting away from what should have been a fun stunt. Before you can even question it, fake Davy Crockett dies. So the episode moves on real fast from that.
Fake Davy Crockett dies. But you know, mentioning things like that, I gotta give props to some of the gadgets in this episode. I loved the old Western style sniper rifle. That was real cool, for example.
Hell, I even dug the little cigarette case thing. I mean,
wasn't that great?
I like this new turn of the series, and the thing that generally surprises me, even now when I watch it again, is you wouldn't think that taking this series from kind of a steampunk kind of sci-fi Western mix and turning it into kind of an espionage Western mix would work, but I think it works very, very well, and it really, especially does wonders for Socrates. It gives him a little bit more impetus.
You say it brightens you. It pisses me off. Why in the hell am I wasting these first 20 episodes on this orb when you could have been doing this the whole time?
It shows that the series is evolving and it's fixing its missteps.
That's a great point, Demos. That doesn't stop me from still thinking that the orb is nothing but a fireball. I'm just saying.
I honestly think, and I still maintain the position I said in a lot of those orb episodes, if they had just finished it in Crystal Hawks and then follow this concept for the rest of the season, there's a chance that the show may not have been canceled.
Maybe all that's true, and I agree with you to an extent. It certainly is. But I think the rock bottom, and I don't mean Dwayne Johnson, is certainly Bye Bly Bye or Die Bly Die or whatever the stupid name of the stupid episode.
The duology of Fountain of Youth and Bye Bly is the 1-2 kick. I did enjoy the Bowler Socrates team up. You rarely see just the two of them together interacting for as long as they did here. And I think it worked very well. The rattlesnake bit, I really enjoyed that.
That was funny. Hey, listen, it gives me hope for the Falcon and
Winter Soldier,
White Wolf team up.
White Wolf sounds so silly. It's because what? Because he's called Black Panther and they need to have the White Wolf?
Take it where you want, Demos. I just think the Winter Soldier is still overrated as far as Captain America 2 goes.
I'm going to be the Aquamarine Argonaut. I don't know. Anyway.
The Aquamarine Octopus.
Honestly, I don't have many bad things to say about this episode. I think that the biggest issues is some of the editing is clumsy. The villain's fate is too heavily foreshadowed for it to be an effective brawl for me. Come on, an open mineshaft warning right in dead center of the screen.
Yeah.
Beyond those points, I think there's very little that doesn't work well here.
It's weird. I agree with you, but by the same token, I feel like there were times where it had trouble holding my attention, and I can't exactly point out why.
Maybe they had one too many Pete scenes. Maybe that was just a little bit more of a detraction. I could have done without the Indiana Jones rock scene.
Yes, I agree with that. Although, again, that was well executed. Like the whole breaking of the branch and stupid rock, stupid piece of blah, blah sediment. Listen.
And he went to the Prometheus school of dodging fireballs.
Correct. Listen, let's be clear. The Prometheus, that's so awesome. I don't know how it is it works this way, but like the whole needlessly eloquent description that Pete comes up with is super great.
What are you doing out here?
I'm exercising my constitutional right to make the best possible living in a free market economy.
Again, I don't know what it is exactly that kept the episode from holding my attention as much as I felt like it should have. The ending, I didn't like it, and it shouldn't have worked, ... But if we were in the business of Solomon with Comet, it could be a 3.5. But for some reason, I can't bump it to 4. If this is going to be the cheese pizza through which we judge the rest of the espionage episodes, this is going to be a hell of a time, Demos.
Interesting. It's kind of funny. You're mentioning the ending, and there's one thing in the ending that didn't work for me, and it goes back to my negative of clumsy editing. His walking away from the gravestone, it follows him way too long, and you're expecting something to happen, and he just turns and he looks at her, and then the episode ends. It's like they were trying to pad for time. I feel like there are a lot of scenes in this episode that try to pad for time, and I think that might be the thing that's holding you off from going all the way to 4, because I have the same problem. However, I'm a little bit more forgiving. I think that with this episode, Briscoe embarks on this bold new direction. The show has a renewed sense of purpose, and it surprisingly and breezily blends the tongue-in-cheek steampunk nature of the series with the espionage and the intrigue. For those wondering why Briscoe was described as half 007, half Indiana Jones when we began this retrospective, all I have to say is, hello, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, right.
I'm giving it 4 comments.
Of course you are, because it's James. I'm kidding. The commercial probably should have said 3/4 James or 3/4 Indiana Jones, 1/4 James Bond.
that's a little bit more accurate. If Comet was named Aston Martin, then I maybe say 50-50.
Nice.
Oh, no. Comet will be Aston, and then Bowler's horse will be named Martin, and then when they meet, it's love at first sight, and then suddenly here comes Socrates on his new horse, the Lotus.
No, you have it all wrong. And of course, Socrates' name would still be Lotus, but it would be Ashton would be Comet's name. Martin would be Bowler's butler's name.
So you can get the grooming scene you're waiting for.
Exactly.
I'm having my fingers crossed just for you, for the Reginald Comet horse grooming scene that you're.
At the end of the day, we're running out of episodes. I have a very distinct feeling that I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, will that be your deal breaker? Don't watch the show because there's no butler horse grooming scene. I mean, that's my big problem right now with Star Trek Picard. So I don't know.
What the
Fireball!
So join us every week as we cover all 27 episodes of The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. We invite you to watch along and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on each episode. And make sure to like and subscribe for more fun from Hilarity by Default.